That's good. That's an interesting question, because one of my concerns has been is that for the past couple of years, the superintendent's actually been running the school board, and we need to have the school board to set the policy and work with the superintendent to accomplish those goals. That's what the school board's elected to do. If we let the superintendent do it, then we have issues that come up where it's not leadership, it's following, and that's not what we should be doing. The school superintendent, if he has ideas or presents some suggestions that he wants done, present it to the board. Tell us what it's going to cost. How is it going to benefit the students? How is it going to benefit the teachers? And what will it mean towards education in this area? So that's what we have to do as a school board, is to work with the superintendent, but to see that the superintendent follows what we have set down as policy.
And I think you said very clearly that it's up to the school board, not the superintendent, set policy. And you said to see how the superintendent follows it. So talk a little bit more. Does that mean you would monitor the superintendent or not? And if yes, you know, on what things, how would you monitor?
One thing I've learned over years, you can't give a black and white answer. It is kind of gray. You've got to work with the superintendent, as he's got to work with us. When you're setting goals for 130-something thousand students and 9,000 employees, you've got to work together. I would say, well, yes, we have to monitor the superintendent. We got to make sure that they don't spend over money without authorization. We've got to monitor how things are being done and how things are being accomplished. That's our responsibility. That's why the public elects the school board. So we've got to see that those things are done. It has to be a combination of review of the goals, working with the superintendent on the goals, but reviewing his actions or her actions. Let's say that.
Okay. You'll be doing a superintendent search, should you come on board. If you could have anybody in the country, who or what kind of person would you pick and why?
The first thing I am looking for in a superintendent is honesty. I think we have just gone through a period where teachers were told one thing and then something else happened. A good example, the opt-out option, and then he sunk off to Raleigh to change the bill, 456. That is where you lose the morale of the teachers. So honesty has to be one. Open communications, not just with the teachers and the parents and the community and the school board, but I'd like to see better communications with students. These are, if you look at schools as our product, okay, we manufacture education for children. We need to know from the kids, the students, what they need, what their issues are, and how we can accomplish those goals. It gives us and gives the superintendent an idea of what he needs to do to accomplish his goal. I would look for a superintendent that's accomplished goals in wherever he came from, or she came from. I better say he or she from now on, but wherever they came from, to make sure they've accomplished their goals, met their criteria, and met their school board, and that there's no hidden problems. We found out too late with previous school superintendents that there was a problem in spending with one of them. There was a problem with issues with teachers with another. We can't afford that. We need to know in advance that the superintendent we hire has done so with a great deal of dignity and a great deal of understanding of where the parameters are, wherever he or she came from and what they're coming here for. The other thing is that I've had the experience of hiring a county manager. I've had the experience of hiring a mental health director and a Department of Social Services director, and participated in the merger of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County Police Department. So I've had that experience when we went for a chief and we went through all those things. So I look for different things. Honesty has to be the top one because of the morale aspect of it.
Would you include in this, would the superintendent that you would hire need to have educational background experience or not?
Well, I would assume that whoever we hire is going to have an educational background, and that not only in the appropriate degrees from colleges and universities and the doctorates, if that's what it's going to be, but also has the educational background. I'd like to, if I had a choice and I had the total control, I'd want someone that started as a teacher and worked their way up over years so that they understand the classroom, understand being a principal, understand being an administrator, and understand being a superintendent. Because now you've got someone that's been a student and gone all the way through the system to be a superintendent. What a blessing that would be, because it would be the one person that has felt all the jobs and can understand what needs to be done.
Our last superintendent followed that precise pattern. So should we be looking for someone like our previous superintendent?
Well, I gotta step carefully. I'm not Rick Perry, but our school board lost control. That's the failure. The school board, and I'm going to say this directly, the school board lost control in that the superintendent became the power omnibus that he is. And when that happens and you have no way to rein him in or rein her in, then you lose control. And that's what happened here. That's why I say the school board has got to be the one to set policy and work with the superintendent and work with accomplishing the goals that are set. Otherwise, that's what we wind up with. A good example of that is the Gates Foundation gave $250,000 to the school system. That money should never have been given to the superintendent to use as he desires. That went to the school system. That should have been controlled by the school board. And that money should have then worked out as to how it was going to be used instead of how it was used or how it has been used.